What's up, everybody? This is Khoi with the OverLook, and we go over the books you may have overlooked. So right now, we are going to cover Titans, the Lazarus contract. This one has a lot to do with time travel and Deathstroke, and I think he's going to be making an appearance in Titans Season 3, which is coming up in about 2 weeks or so. So we are celebrating by covering a Titans story. Makes sense. If you are a fan of this kind of content, definitely leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and write a comment down and answer this question for me. Would you go back in time to save someone if you knew it meant somebody in the future would die? I'm interested to see what you guys would think. But with all that being said, let's get started. There was a battle on Hatton Corners. The Teen Titans were outmatched in every way. The ground was shattered. The cars were overturned. Both Kid Flash and Aqualad were unconscious. Robin was the next to go down. Speedy attempted to shoot an arrow to take out their attacker, but the villain caught it without looking. The villain boasted that Hive made him faster and stronger than before, and now nothing can stop him. He's the Ravager, and he's practically invincible. But by a sick twist of fate, something happened to Ravager. Out of nowhere, the villain doubled back in pain and dropped both Robin and the arrow in his hands before clutching onto his chest. He had a heart attack. Seconds later, Ravager collapses. Kid Flash was the first to his side, but it was already too late. "Grant!" called out the villain Deathstroke before running to Ravager and kneeling by his side. Deathstroke was Ravager's hero, so much so that he modeled his persona after the mercenary. The boy had no idea that it was the father he hated. "Can you hear me, boy? What have you done?" Deathstroke asks as he slides up his son's mask. Did we get them? Did we kill the Teen Titans?" Ravager asked. Deathstroke went silent. "Yeah," Deathstroke finally replied. "Yeah, you got them all, son." That was years ago. That was the day Deathstroke swore his revenge on the Teen Titans. About 3 days ago, Slade Wilson woke up in a hospital bed in the middle of Los Angeles. A well-put-together elderly man was the only one there to greet him. "Welcome back," the man said flatly. "Jackass." Wintergreen?" Slade groans as he focuses his vision. "I presume the operation was a success?" "What operation?" "The corneal transplant. That Dr. Villain bloke flew all the way here to Los Angeles with a donor cornea." Slade sat himself up in the bed and grabbed onto the medical IV stand to brace himself as he stood to his feet. "Who was the donor?" The doctor didn't say, only that you won't need any anti-rejection meds due to your rapid healing. You know, Slade, most blind men, given their sight back, tend to be rather more delighted. Slade ignored the comment and began equipping his Deathstroke armor. Get the jet ready. New York. Wintergreen refocuses the subject. Yes, Rose, your daughter, is in stable condition. Joseph, your son, is in rehab. Your surviving son, I mean, Grant, is still dead. In your delirium, you kept calling his name. That and New Flash, whatever that bullocks means. About an hour ago, in New York, the Titans had a small problem on their hands. They were told that they would be fighting Hive agents, or at least mercenaries hired by Hive. But Lilith Clay, the telepathic hero known as Omen, found out otherwise. She scanned the minds of their opponents and found that there was no trace of Hive on the surface level of their thoughts, or even hidden. Other than Omen, the team is composed of Wally West, the former Kid Flash, as well as the former Robin, now known as Nightwing, Donna Troy, the former Wonder Girl, Arsenal, the former Speedy, and Tempest, the former Aqualad. None of them are too pleased that their time has been wasted. Nightwing grabbed one of the armored goons and slammed him onto the wall before demanding to know who they are and who hired them. The goon told Nightwing that the person who hired them had a message. He said, "The deal is off." And he said his name was Lazarus. The very utterance of the name shocked Nightwing enough to loosen his grasp and drop the goon to the floor. The rest of the team asked him what was wrong, but he wouldn't answer. And before they could prod any deeper, they all noticed Wally was gone. Now, the Flash is being withstrained within an undisclosed location. As he slowly wakes up, he realizes that there are metal bindings strapping him down to a treadmill and are shocking him with varying volts of electricity, causing the muscles in his legs to run involuntarily. "The hell is this?" he groans. "How did I get here? What? Where am I?" Suddenly, a grainy voice speaks out from a nearby intercom. "Name?" it asks directly. "I'm Wally West," the Flash says honestly. "The fastest man alive, and I..." Once he realizes what he's saying, the Flash covers his mouth to stop himself from speaking. "Why'd I just say that out loud? You shot me full of something when you tranked me. Anti-inhibitors, like a truth drug." "Verbal laxative," the voice answers. 60-degree incline, 200 miles per hour. The voice-activated treadmill tilts upward and begins rotating even faster. "Keep running," the voice orders. The Flash attempts to resist, saying he's not going to just comply with the person's orders. The heroes disobedience results in him being hit by an overflow of electricity. Keep running, the voice orders again. Who are you? The Flash asks. You swiped me in broad daylight with the Titans all around. How is that even possible? 300 miles per hour, the voice says as they turn up the speed of the treadmill. Tell me about the Titans. What? No! I'm not just going to tell you about my friends. How we were all sidekicks or understudies who formed a team in secret because we wanted to prove. The Flash's eyes begin to glow. Stop making me do that! You really can't help yourself. 500 miles per hour. Run. You vanished, the voice begins. Where have you been? It's at that moment the Flash realizes who the voice belongs to. Still, he answers. I was thrown into the time stream by Abracadabra's techno-magic. But you came back. I escaped the time stream. The Flash pulled me back. But I remember a different world. I think that's how I know you. Someone changed history. Who? The voice asks before shocking the Flash again. I don't know! The voice then barks. Stop, treadmill. And the machine slows to a halt. He then steps out from the shadows and says, Wally West, I have a deal for you. Deathstroke looks down at the now exhausted hero and asks him, You were there when Ravager died? Yes, Wally tells him softly, but that was years ago. When the Teen Titans killed my son? Deathstroke adds, reaffirming his point. It wasn't us, the Flash reasons. The powers Hive gave him so he could take us down. Something went wrong. His heart couldn't take it. Wally sinks his head in shame. There's a brief silence. I tried to save him, he then adds. I mean, I was the first at his side when he went down. I tried, Slade. I'm sorry. I wasn't fast enough. On the coast of Manhattan, within Titan's Tower, Garth, the hero known as Tempest, is attempting to pinpoint the Flash using their base computer. The Titans still aren't sure how it happened. Whoever snagged Wally did a classy job, as Arsenal puts it. They must have been using cloaking technology. Tempest, however, wonders aloud, maybe Wally just ran off. He does that, after all. Great distances, without warning. He is very fast. The other Titans don't respond positively to his questions. Omen takes this time to question Nightwing about what the hired gun meant, about Lazarus, and about the deal. Nightwing doubles down, stating he doesn't know about either of the two. Omen, however, can sense that something's off. Unfortunately for her, Dick Grayson, who has undergone special covert training, has one of the hardest minds to read in the world. It's closed off, like trying to explore the Bat Cave without a flashlight. Nightwing once again tells Omen that he isn't withholding any information, turns his back, and stomps away. This, of course, alerts Omen even further. She can tell Nightwing is lying to her. Back in the undisclosed location, the Flash watches as Deathstroke presses a number of keys on his computer keyboard. "What are you doing now?" he asks. "Shut up," Deathstroke tells him. "Speed bends time, correct?" "No," the Flash says before immediately contradicting himself. "Well, yes, but extreme velocities can create relativistic..." "Wait, what are you asking me?" the Flash questions, interrupting himself. Deathstroke, still focused on the computer, asks a follow-up question. "You and your flashes, you can use your speed force for time travel, theoretically?" "Yes," the Flash says truthfully, "but we don't, because it's... oh God." It's at that moment the Flash realizes Deathstroke's true intentions. "Don't, Slade, don't. Don't even consider it," he barks, knowing full well of the danger Deathstroke tampers with. "Not your call," the assassin responds before activating the machine. The metal arms binding the Flash now hold him up and begin emitting waves of energy that causes the Flash's powers to activate involuntarily. "Slade," the Flash reasons. "Listen, Grant's dead. It happened. Accept it. When I was adrift in the time stream, I lost everything. Everything that I loved. I live with the temptation of using my powers to go back and change things every day. But I don't. You know why? Because you have to keep moving forward." The Flash regains his control and redirects his energy back into the machine, breaking it apart and freeing him from his bindings. He speeds forward and tackles Deathstroke before slamming him on a nearby wall. "Listen to me, Slade. Messing with time could screw up the world in ways you can't imagine. You have to focus on the future, not the past. Build a new life, not try to bring an old one back. The alternative is too risky. For you, maybe," Deathstroke grunts. He throws a jab, but it is easily countered. "You have this great power, this speed force, but you don't have a clue how to use it. Speed is wasted on you." "It's over, Slade," the Flash says confidently. "You're fast, but I'm faster. I'm asking you to save a life," Deathstroke tells him. "Isn't that what heroes do? I have a deal for you. A contract. I don't make deals with killers. Wally West, help me bring my son back, and I'll stop being Deathstroke. Forever. No more costume. No more contracts. No more killing. Save one life. Save thousands." Wally steps backwards. I'm sorry, Slade. I won't help you I can't. No matter how badly I want to. Deathstroke slides his hand up the wall behind him until he finds a hidden lever that reveals and opens a secret door leading to a small room. I figured, he says flatly. No matter, I've got what I needed from you, and I secured a contingency. It is at that moment the door opens fully, revealing the exact same machine the Flash was strapped to, except this one is holding Kid Flash. And he has a question. You're Wally West? How can you be Wally West? I'm Wally West. He is Wally West, the fastest kid alive. But one day, he hopes to be more than that. A good man. Someone others can look up to and trust. Unlike Barry Allen, the Flash. For as long as Wally has been training with Barry, Barry has been keeping the truth from him. Like how his father was the supervillain known as Reverse Flash. Barry never told Wally who his father really was. But now, it's too late. Now, he's dead. It seems like the only people Wally can trust these days are his teammates. Robin likes to say, the Teen Titans are tomorrow's Justice League. There's a lot in Wally's past he's running from. But that's the future he's racing toward. These days, he feels a little lost in time. Always rushing back and forth between Titan's Tower in San Francisco and Central City. It was yesterday, within Central City, that Wally ran into a middle-aged man whose car had broken down. Lucky for the man, Wally is a helpless gearhead, and all the car needed was a jump start. Fixing cars is easy, but fixing his life, that's another story. Daniel West, Wally's father, died before he got his powers. And sometimes, Wally can't help but think if things had worked out a little differently, maybe he could have helped him too. 6 hours ago, at the Teen Titans Tower, each of the team members voiced their concern for the young Wally West. The Teen Titans are composed of Coriander, the hero known as Starfire, Rachel Roth, otherwise known as Raven, Garfield Logan, Beast Boy, and Jackson Hyde, who doesn't have an alter ego. Not only does Starfire worry about Kid Flash, but the empath Raven does as well. Her and Wally were supposed to have lunch the day before, but he never showed up. She tells the others to trust her when she says she has a bad feeling about this. You should, says Damian Wayne, the hero known as Robin and self-proclaimed leader of the team, as he enters the room. Kid Flash
isn't the only Speedster who's missing. The Titans are missing theirs, too.
Jackson, for one, is more concerned with how Robin seems to know everything.
I have the Titans HQ under surveillance, he says simply. And I can see your precise coordinates at all times.
Starfire, the official leader of the Teen Titans, requests that she and Robin speak in private. He ignores her. Instead, Robin pulls up a holographic HUD for everyone to see.
What the?
He asks as he zooms in on the HUD.
According to his tracker, Kid Flash is in this tower, in this very room, at this very... Impossible,
he snaps, immediately closing the HUD and feeling on the back of his collar for the tracking device. Once he finds it, he briefly examines the tracker in his hand before crushing it all together.
No one except Father could possibly have done this. No one except...
Robin stops mid-sentence and turns back to his team, telling them,
there's a good chance Kid Flash is already dead.
Elsewhere, within the undisclosed location where both Wally Wests are being held, the young Wally West can't believe what he just heard.
You're Wally West?
He asks, outraged. How can you be Wally West?
I'm Wally West.
Deathstroke takes this opportunity to step back, cross his arms, and watch as this all unfolds. The older of the two Wallies tells his younger counterpart,
Listen, Wally, I know I owe you an explanation, but there's no time.
The Flash points to the assassin.
All that matters is that you cannot trust this man. Deathstroke is...
At that moment, Deathstroke presses a button on his wrist, and the Flash is hit by an electric shock. It fully incapacitates the hero. Deathstroke doesn't approach the two until the Flash collapses on the floor, unconscious.
I'd say we've got one too many Wallies and two too many Flashes. Let's simplify things by removing one from the equation. What did you do? Kid Flash asks. Just a small shock to his hypothalamus, the brain's sleep center. Relax. He'll be up and running in no time. What do you want from me? I've got a deal for you. A chance to rewrite the past. To be a hero. Time is broken, Wally. And we can fix it.
Deathstroke removes his helmet, revealing he is the same man with the broken down car Wally helped the day before.
My name is Slade Wilson. I hope you'll be kind enough to help me again.
Kid Flash hangs his head in shame.
Not you too. My father lied to me. The Flash lied to me. I can't trust anyone. Oh, grow a pair, will you? I never lie, Wally. Speed runs in your family, doesn't it? Your father would be proud of what you've become. Except that he's gone. Just like Grant. They were both taken from us before we had a chance to set things right. That vacancy you feel. You miss your father. I miss my son. The grief has poisoned me. I am what I am because he's dead. Deathstroke is a side effect, a consequence. Do you know how many I've killed? I stopped counting long ago. But it doesn't have to be that way. Help me bring my son back, and the killing stops forever. You can trust me, Wally. Everything I'm doing for the sake of my son.
At the Titan's Tower within Manhattan, Tempest has just completed his scan of the city. No sign of the Flash at all. He reached out to the Justice League as well. Nobody's seen Wally there either. Arsenal and Donna Troy man the computer to search for their own leads when suddenly the monitor turns on by itself. At first, it's just a voice. It's grainy and clouded by static, but it's there.
A Lazarus contract can be brought back to life if either of us fails to keep our word. I assure you, Robin, I'm a man who keeps mine.
As the message finishes, Deathstroke appears. Apparently, the message was pre-recorded. Each of the Titans demands Nightwing to explain himself, but before he can, the video of Deathstroke fades, and the young Robin and the Teen Titans take his place.
You want answers? Robin asks the team. Meet us on the roof, now.
It's raining. The sparks of lightning and the drums of thunder go ignored by the heroes. They have an important matter to discuss.
You're a traitor, Nightwing,
Robin roars, stepping forward and pointing his finger and jamming it against his brother's chest. Nightwing, who's had experience with Robin's more eccentric personality traits, calmly states, "Settle down, Robin. We're on the same side." Robin doesn't listen.
Father keeps tabs on everyone, even you. He nested that camera in your breastplate when you were Robin. I pulled the footage from the archive. The video was mostly distorted, but that last part came across loud and clear, didn't it? Nightwing made a deal with the devil, and now he's come to collect.
Meanwhile, Raven and Jackson Hyde are having a standoff against Tempest, Omen, and Arsenal. Their harsh words almost stir up a fight, but Nightwing raises his hand to stall his team. Robin's right, he tells them. I made a deal with Deathstroke. I promise I'll explain, but trust me when I say I did it to save all of you. We don't have time for a fight, but I have an idea. I think I know how to find our friends. Within the undisclosed location, Deathstroke holds out his hand to Kid Flash.
You're not the only one haunted by regret, Wally. Let me show you. Take my hand. My Icon suit's gravity sheath will allow me to travel in your speed wake. Trust me, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Kid Flash obliges and leaves with the assassin. Deathstroke chooses to take Wally to a nearby hospital first, where a woman lies unconscious in a bed. Then, to an asylum where a man lay disturbed. Finally, a grave.
Here are the people I've hurt. My daughter, Rose. My son, Joseph. And Grant. It all started with Grant.
Within seconds, they are both back at the undisclosed location. Deathstroke tells Kid Flash,
"If you help me, I'll have a chance to fix my family and erase so much pain and ugliness from the world. To reverse it. You, more than anyone, can understand that impulse. There's more than one Wally West. Perhaps there can be another Slade Wilson."
Kid Flash lets go of Deathstroke's hand and turns his gaze to the other Wally. He still can't believe it. "Another Wally," Kid Flash mutters. "Barry, why did you hide this from me?" Then, Kid Flash removes his mask. "I'll do it," he decides. "I'll help, if it will end Deathstroke forever. I've never used my powers like this before, but maybe we can figure it out together." When Wally looks up, Deathstroke has already left the room. The hero looks down the hallway and sees a light shining in the other direction. "Deathstroke?" he asks. "Did you hear me? I said I'll help you."
"You already have," Deathstroke tells him. "Just like when we first met. You're my jumpstart, Wally. You brought this engine to life."
The Titans and the Teen Titans converge at a sewer system under the Garden State Medical Center in New Jersey. Nightwing makes sure everyone is on the same page. If Deathstroke has kidnapped the Flash and Kid Flash, that means he has the equivalent of a Speed Force battery. This nexus should interrupt and warp time in the surrounding area. So, if they hack into the wireless data network and scan all mobile devices, wherever they're holed up, they should find time anomalies. Deathstroke is one of the most dangerous men on the planet. So, they need to stick.
"Titans, together!"
the young Robin yells, interrupting Nightwing. As the Titan groups infiltrate Deathstroke's base, Beast Boy makes quips, much to the annoyance of Arsenal. Omen and Raven have a short conversation. Omen can tell Raven is hiding deep feelings she has for the young Kid Flash. Tempest wonders aloud exactly what Jackson Hyde is. He's not Atlantean, so what is he? Unfortunately, it seems as if Donna Troy and Starfire are the only ones with their heads in the game. All the while, Robin continues to belittle Nightwing.
You don't make deals with Deathstroke for the same reason you don't empathize with Deathstroke. He's a villain. He's irredeemable.
Nightwing asks Robin, "We took a chance on you, didn't we?"
That's different, the boy says defensively.
"Sometimes trusting someone can save them," Nightwing adds.
"And sometimes it can bite you in the ass," Robin responds.
Eventually, the two teams stumble on the unconscious Wally West. They try to shake the hero awake, to no avail. Robin offers to slap the Flash awake. He'd be happy to do that. Out of nowhere, the Flash wakes up, gasping for air.
"Wally!"
he shouts.
"I mean, the other Wally. Deathstroke's got him."
"Slow down, Flash," Robin tells him. "We're here to help. Tell us what's going on."
"There's no time," the Flash yells. "There's no time."
At that moment, a sonic boom erupts through the corridor that knocks all the heroes unbalanced. Deathstroke stands tall. Speed Force energy cracks all around him.
"I beg to differ," he boasts. "I've got all the time in the world."
Hey guys, this is Khoi from the OverLook, and we go over the books you may have overlooked. Hopefully, you enjoyed this video. The next part should be out tomorrow or the next day. Not trying to have too much in between, too much time go on in between, so I'll make sure I'll try to get this out as soon as possible. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the story, but I just wanted to take this time to say thank you. That's it. Thanks. Slade Wilson now has control over a portion of the Speed Force energy. He sprints through the city street with the older of the two Wally Wests not too far behind. Wally, the Flash, even gets so close as to grab Deathstroke's shoulder.
"Let me go,"
orders the assassin.
"I mean you no harm. This deal is still in place."
But Wally has no idea what Deathstroke is talking about. He would never make deals with a killer. Deathstroke, however, doubts that very much. As the Flash grabs onto Deathstroke, the hero's speed begins to be siphoned away.
"That's some trick," the Flash scoffs. "Synthesizing my speed somehow? It's not your speed, West. It's simply a matter of knowing which technology to steal. Dr. Darwin Elias once created a siphoning device designed to help the real Flash control his powers. This extractor stored that energy in battery cells. Some of the greatest minds on the planet are on my payroll. Most unwittingly. Collating the scans I took from you and the boy made modifying the extractor simple. And as far as my deal, I made that with someone else." In the past, about a year after Grant's death, Dick Grayson, Robin, returned to Hatton Corners
the Teen Titans headquarters on Goat Island. When he arrived, no one was there, except Slade. The assassin ambushed the boy with a bombardment of rubber bullets before holding him at knife point. "Children," he hissed. "These idiot heroes dress up their orphans and loose them on society. By the way, you're getting a bit old for that look. If you're old enough to shave, you might want to stop modeling yourself after a yard bird." Robin pushed the blade aside, saying, "A wise man once told me criminals were superstitious cowards." Deathstroke then lowered his weapon. "I assure you, I am neither." "What do you want, Deathstroke?" "To kill you, of course. After all, I assumed my son's contract from Hive after your team killed him." "Nobody killed Grant, Deathstroke. That serum Hive gave him was toxic. You know that. Sell crazy somewhere else. Why are you really here?" "To make you an offer. Accept it, or you will not leave this place alive. And let's just keep this between us. No need for any other casualties." Deathstroke then showed Robin a picture of his daughter, Rose, before explaining he only learned of her existence recently. At the time, she lived in New York. Her mother was killed in an accident, and Rose was looking forward to moving in with her father. "And of course, that can't happen. I've arranged for her care, but she will need more." "Combat training?" Robin asks. "Oh, please. I just killed you, you punk. Albeit with rubber bullets. No, she needs your values. I don't want her following my path." Robin squints his eyes and examines the assassin. "And in exchange, you'll stop trying to kill us." "For now, I will convert my agreement with Hive into a Lazarus contract, which can be brought back to life if either of us fails to keep our word. I assure you, Robin, I'm a man who keeps mine." In the present, the Flash has chased Deathstroke as far north as the snowy tundra. Deathstroke tells the Flash he's honestly surprised Robin, or rather, Nightwing, kept his word and didn't tell the Titans about their little agreement. The Flash casts aside the assassin's words. "Well, a lot has happened since then." Both speedsters come to a sliding halt. Their sudden stop causes a wave of snow to form in front of them. Deathstroke asks the Flash, "Ever hear that adage about the dog chasing the taxi? What would he actually do with it if he caught it? Your speed is your singular advantage. But when facing someone as fast as you are, the playing field is leveled." Deathstroke unsheathed his sword. The blade sparks and cracks with an overflow of Speed Force energy. "Here, in bullet time, we're just two guys jawing. Only,
I'm a trained killer. And you, well, what are you without your powers? If you're not the fastest man alive.
Then, the Flash leaves. He just runs away, kicking up snow in his wake.
Yes, Deathstroke chides. I thought so.
Elsewhere, under the Garden State Medical Center, the Titans and the Teen Titans take stock of the current situation. The most pressing matter is the fact that there are indeed 2 Speedster Wally Wests. Beast Boy is finding it difficult to wrap his mind around how casually the rest of the heroes are taking this new information. Damian Wayne, Robin, stands by his teammate. He places a hand on Kid Flash's shoulder and asks,
Kid Flash, what went on here? Did Deathstroke torture you?
Kid Flash looks the other way, avoiding any eye contact with the other heroes. No, he responds.
Well, how did he manage to gain super speed?
I didn't realize he was doing that. He only said that he needed my help.
Wait.
Robin hunches over to look Kid Flash in the eyes.
Are you saying you trusted him? Trusted Deathstroke?
He's desperate to save his son.
He kidnapped the Flash. You overheard Deathstroke interrogating him.
It was wrong. He said so.
You idiot!
Robin snaps.
You have any idea what you've done?
Nightwing steps forward and attempts to calm things down between the 2 young heroes. Time to argue later. We need to know what's happening to the Flash. He turns to Kid Flash. Better get going.
Yes, by all means,
Damian snaps.
Try not to give any more supervillains a hand while you're at it.
Wally attempts to sprint off, but is unable to gather enough speed and fizzles out. He trips, falls into the water, and needs the assistance of others to get out. Damian sees this and sighs.
It is logical to assume the source of Deathstroke's new power is Mother Teresa here. Kid Flash demonstrated his own hidden superpower, gullibility.
Elsewhere, in Los Angeles, a man stands on the ledge of a skyscraper. He stands there a lot. It's peaceful. Suddenly, the Flash arrives.
Jericho, he tells the man. You don't know me, but I need your help. I ran. My God, I turned and ran from him. I told myself, dying out in the middle of nowhere could mean the end of everything. That, for the greater good, I had to.
Tears begin to build in the Flash's eyes.
The truth is, I was scared. Deathstroke tortured me. Damn, hands shaking. As long as I can remember, my powers had made me seem fearless. He humiliated me.
Jericho silently holds up his phone to the Flash. It reads, "No one is fearless. Dying to prove you're not equals dumb. How can I help you?" In the past, almost a lifetime ago, a young boy was sleeping in the back seat of a truck until a man with snow-white hair holding a rifle opens the door to the vehicle, grabs the boy, pulls him out, and tosses him into the snow.
Slade? What the?
The boy cries out. Jesus, scoffs Slade.
What an effing Nancy. Gear up. Moving out.
With Slade is the boy's brother, Joseph. The first boy picks himself off the ground and tells Slade that he can go screw himself, and he can go the hell back to wherever it is he goes. The boy hopes to God that Slade gets his head blown off next time. Jericho, or Joseph, calls out to his brother, but the boy is already stomping away.
Let's go, Joseph,
Slade says sternly, as he turns in the opposite direction.
Go?
Joseph gasps.
You mean we're gonna leave Grant out here? Dad?
Years later, Wintergreen arrives at the Wilson residence to find Joseph and Grant playing video games. He asks where he can find their mother and father.
The usual,
Grant grunts.
They're at it again. So sick of both of them.
Wintergreen looks up the staircase to the second floor and responds, Gone quiet up there. Is that good or bad? Grant gets frustrated and slams his controller down.
I'm out. Had enough of their crap.
Wintergreen and Joseph share a silent moment before Wintergreen makes his way up to the second floor. When he opens Slade's bedroom door, he finds the assassin and his wife lying naked on the floor. Wintergreen advises the two, Far be it for me to disturb true love. But we've a plan. Adeline, love, I believe young Grant may have run away. Adeline brushes the notion aside. He runs away every other week. What's the gig? Wintergreen debriefs Adeline, while Slade puts on some clothes in order to go find Grant. He then sprints through the forest and cuts the boy off.
Going somewhere?
He asks as he pulls out a cigarette and lights it. Grant is shocked to see his father. He can't help but stutter.
Ready to go your own way, right? Pay your own rent?
Slade blows a cloud of smoke in his son's face.
So, you're a man now.
Yes. The boy winces.
Then hit me. You're so grown now. Be a man. Hit me. This is what's out there for you, boy. It's what I've been trying to teach you. This is what the world is. Wolves and sheep. Which will you be? Hit me. One punch, and I'll never bother you again. Just show me something. Anything. Prove to me I didn't raise some gutless freak.
Grant yells out for Slade to shut up,
reels back his fist, and aims a haymaker directly at his father.
Obviously, the hit misses.
Seriously?
Slade asks him. He takes one last puff before throwing down his cigarette.
That's the best you got. All right, Grant. All right. You want to go? I won't stop you. But let me give you something to remember me by.
Grant begins to backpedal, and then breaks into a full-on sprint into oncoming traffic. He is hit by a car full of women his age. Lucky for him, they're going to a party. And now they owe him. It takes 60 seconds. In 60 seconds, Slade Wilson is able to sprint through Chicago to shoot one of the more affluent in the back of the skull, to El Domingo to stab a dictator in the eye, to London to eradicate a member of Parliament, and finally to Madrid. In Madrid, he speeds alongside a Formula One race car, stares the driver in the eye, and slices down with his sword. He destroys the vehicle in an instant. Afterwards, Slade heads to the hospital to sit by his daughter's side. Wintergreen arrives shortly after with a handful of flowers. "Well, it's about bloody time," he remarks. "And where have you been?" "Clearing my calendar. Doc says Rose is going to make it," Slade tells him, changing the subject. "And what about you? What positive and uplifting tasks were you performing in the catacombs beneath Jersey City?" "It's nothing. Trust me." Famous last words. Perhaps I'll have a look. "Joseph, your son was released from rehab this morning. You should see him while you're out visiting and all." "I'm leaving for a mission." "Of course. How long?" 2 minutes, half an hour, forever. I'm going to fix the mistakes I've made, Billy, or die trying. Within Deathstroke's hideout, Nightwing and Robin have successfully uploaded Deathstroke's data files to their cloud server. They predominantly feature coordinates somewhere in New England. Nightwing reasons that it's Hatton Corners, the location of their old base. They then receive a call from the Flash, who, still with Jericho, tells Nightwing and Robin that they will meet him in New England. Jericho, the hero with the ability to separate his spirit from his body, speaks through the speaker on his cell phone. He is well aware that Hatton Corners is the site where his brother Grant, the assassin known as Ravager, was killed. He can accept that. But his father, Deathstroke, never will. Jericho explains that his father doesn't process his emotions well. Deathstroke would rather find someone else to blame. The Flash spoke about being terrified of him, humiliated by him. That was Jericho's entire childhood. Jericho has spent a long time trying to accept his father for who he really is. Even longer, trying to accept himself for being exactly like him. Elsewhere, outside Windsor, Ontario, Deathstroke is preparing to sprint. His new armor, the Icon suit, is a gravity sheath, Einstein's theory says gravity can bend time. So, ramping up his Icon suit point defense system, while moving at near light speeds, ought to do the trick. Using the speed calibrations from the two flashes fed into Deathstroke's uniform's artificial intelligence, Deathstroke aims himself in the direction of Hatton Corners and starts to run. His name is Slade Wilson. He's the fastest killer alive, and he's about to change his own destiny. Massive amounts of Speed Force energy cracks all around him. Within an instant, he breaks the sound barrier. After that, he rips open a hole in the Speed Force and uses it to travel back in time. And then, he sees him. He sees his son, Grant. Deathstroke's son stands there in mid-stride, seemingly frozen in time compared to the Speedster. With a thunderclap, the assassin screeches to a halt. Ravager, in reaction to seeing Deathstroke appear out of nowhere, raises his sword. Ravager is then caught off guard once again when he sees Deathstroke not only remove his helmet, but reveal himself to be none other than his father. "Son," Slade says softly, as he approaches Ravager with open arms. "I found you." Years ago, out in Linthicum Heights, Maryland, Grant Wilson was living the good life. He ran away from his family, from his father, Slade, and he didn't plan on looking back. He ran into a group of young adults of similar minds. Outcasts, they called themselves, and quickly made friends with each of them. Apparently, the group formed an informal think tank specializing in gene therapy, physics, and pharmaceuticals. Grant learned that his new friends were subsidized, meaning everything from their rent to their equipment was already paid for. They were kind of like social media influencers, except they worked for the Hive organization. The organization was founded by some of the greatest minds on the planet in order to create the world's greatest hive mind of thinkers. Grant's new friends are but one of dozens of cells they've created to help solve the world's problems. They're practically superheroes. Almost a year passes, and Grant finds himself strapped down on a medical bed. He attempts to cast aside any last-minute regrets he may have had as a syringe full of a strange liquid is entered into his veins. His friends assure him that after the procedure, he will be a whole new man. And that is exactly what the Masters need. Hive needs a herald, a powerful warrior, like Grant's idol, Deathstroke. Only Grant will be even better stronger, acting covertly for the greater good. Currently, Deathstroke is racing through the hills of Vermont. He accidentally overshoots his target and runs into the Ravager, knocking his son, the makeshift mercenary, off his feet. It happens so fast, Ravager believes it to be some kind of trick formed by the Titans. Deathstroke runs back and slides to a halt, kicking up dirt in the process, before telling Ravager, "No, son. Think of this as a time out. I'd like you to reevaluate your commitment to Hive." Deathstroke's new icon suit looks just different enough from his original armor that it takes Ravager a second to realize who's standing in front of him. "Wait, I know you," he says before slowly approaching Deathstroke and, unexpectedly, hugging him. "Deathstroke!" He then cheers. "I've read about you on the dark web. You're amazing! I can't believe it. I'm hanging out with Deathstroke. Can I... Wow, this is such a fanboy question." Ravager removes his helmet. "But, will you sign my mask?" "Grant," Deathstroke sighs. "Wow, you know my name? Deathstroke knows my name." Deathstroke then removes his own helmet so that he can look his son in the eyes. "Of course I know your name. I gave it to you." Grant sees his father's face and immediately rejects it, reasoning this all really must be a trick from the Titans. Sadly, he's wrong. Slade regrettably tells Grant Hive is just using him to recruit Deathstroke. But Slade never wanted this life for Grant, for any of his children. Grant begins to stomp away. "Get back here, son," Slade barks. "Oh, hell no! I will not accept this." In his rage, Grant draws his sword and holds it up to his father. "You don't get to call me that. You've never earned that. Calm down. You calm down. Grant, there are things in life between fathers and sons." "Shut up, you maniac! I have power now. An energy dampening field, enhanced strength and reflexes. The boy you knew is long gone, Slade. Replaced by the Ravager." Slade hits his son with his helmet, knocking Grant out and sending him crashing to the floor. "Crap," Slade huffs. "Didn't go any better than my first 2 attempts. The kid's got a cement block for a brain. Got to go back farther through the time stream. I'll get it right next time." In the present day, the Titans and the Teen Titans are flooding out of the sewers under the Garden State Medical Center in Jersey City. Nightwing tells the team the Flash has asked them to meet at their old headquarters at Hatton Corners. Everyone begins to cram into the jet, but Robin puts his foot down and demands Kid Flash be left behind. Even Tempest, the former Aqualad, agrees. This situation is Wally's fault, and every second Deathstroke has super speed could literally mean the end of everything. Raven, Starfire, and Beast Boy each speak up in protest, but there are more pressing matters to entertain at the moment. Beast Boy repeatedly makes it known to Nightwing that both the Titans and the Teen Titans are in over their heads. They should be calling the Justice League. A lunatic is planning to change time. He may have already done so. They are talking about the fate of all reality here. Beast Boy argues, how bad do things have to get before they admit they're in over their heads? What exactly is Nightwing trying to prove? And if things weren't bad enough, they not only left Kid Flash, but they also left Jackson. It doesn't take long for the heroes to reach Goat Island. Hatton Corners lies just across the bay. Nightwing explains Grant Wilson, Deathstroke's son, died just over a hill not too far away. At that moment, Jericho arrives as well. His voice echoes through each of their ears. And I miss Grant every day of my life. Who are you? Nightwing asks, alarmed. Jericho gives the teams an innocent wave and introduces himself as Grant Wilson's brother and Deathstroke's other son. He explains, what you are hearing is my subvocal processor broadcast over your team's comm frequency. By the end of Jericho's sentence, the Flash arrives. He, however, is not too eager to see his teammates. He still feels shame from his last encounter with the assassin. Elsewhere, the young Wally West is running in the rain towards the closest payphone he can find. Jackson, who was also left, has been chasing him for blocks, but Wally has been ignoring Jackson's pleas for him to slow down. Even without his powers, Wally's still pretty quick. When he finally reaches the phone, Wally calls the only person he can think of, Barry Allen. Unfortunately, Barry doesn't answer. It's just another coincidence, Wally guesses. Barry's never really there when he needs him most. The voicemail Wally leaves is short. Hopefully, Barry will listen to it in time. Back at Hatton's Corner, the older Wally West is running in circles in an attempt to generate speed. Follow me, he tells Jericho. Try and keep up. Easier said than done, Jericho tells him. My icon suit is a gravity sheath, just like Pop's. I'm fast, but not super fast. Just stay on me. Draft on my wake, the Flash advises. The way we traveled here from Los Angeles, Deathstroke combined Kid Flash's super speed and the gravitational properties of his uniform. We're trying to recreate Deathstroke's method, following the data he's collected. Jericho, however, has his apprehensions. Perhaps following in his father's footsteps isn't the wisest of moves. Messing with time is risky. The Flash counters that he tried stopping Deathstroke by himself. They could lose the entire planet because of it. This time, they stick together. Nightwing organizes the assault. He explains how Jericho's gravity sheath and the Flash's speed are creating a time portal. This, paired with Starfire's energy as a stabilizer and Raven's chronokinesis, will help them reach their destination. But when they get there, they must stick to the woods and stay out of sight. Above all, to avoid any contact with their past selves. Even a small change in the timeline could be disastrous. Of course, things never go as planned, and within the temporal tear, the heroes run into past variants of themselves. They meet a Dick Grayson who is still Robin, a Wally West who is still Kid Flash, a Donna Troy who is still Wonder Girl, a Roy Harper before everything. Garth is still Aqualad, and a younger variant of Lilith Clay stands before them. Before anyone else can speak, Nightwing tries to explain to their younger selves that they mean them no harm, and the heroes are just looking for Deathstroke. Unfortunately for the heroes, this is before they met Deathstroke. The young ones have no idea who Nightwing is speaking of. Damian pushes Nightwing aside so that he can shake hands and speak to the past Robin himself. Just point us towards wherever Ravager went. The past Robin begins to explain that Ravager vanished. They were actually just about to pursue him when, out of nowhere, Damian turns to the past Kid Flash and hits him with a precise strike in his chest. Damian explains it to be the Stone Palm technique, a strike that causes commotio cordis, a disruption of heart rhythm. The past Wally folds to the ground and begins to convulse, and the older, present Wally begins to fade from existence. Before anyone else can react, Damian throws out a number of flash grenades as a distraction. His plan, he tells Nightwing, is to bring Deathstroke to them. Kid Flash only has to die for a second, just long enough to disrupt the history of the Flashes, which will obliquely alter the path of the other Kid Flash's history, enough to break his linkage with Deathstroke. Elsewhere, Slade Wilson is trying to make Grant see reason. All right, son. Enough of this foolishness. The serum Hive used to give you powers is killing you, just as they planned. Get to the emergency room, or I'll drag you there. Grant throws his father's hands off him. I'm not going anywhere with you, jackass. It's too late now, Slade. You can't change the past. Suddenly, everything around Slade becomes distorted. No, he says to himself as he realizes. My speed power, the time stream, it's fading. Slade tries to cling to his timeline, but he is left to watch helplessly as Grant doubles over in pain, as his son begins to spit up blood, as his boy dies in his arms all over again. Somewhere in Jersey City, the young Wally West and Jackson Hyde are walking down the sidewalk when none other than Major William Randolph Wintergreen, the close friend and maybe the only of Deathstroke's, pulls up in a black sedan and offers the children a ride. He is more than aware that Slade can be a jackass sometimes. When Slade joined the army, he was not much older than those in the Teen Titans, and he had the best of intentions. But now, having ruined relationships with his daughter and surviving son, rather than simply saying he's sorry, he concocts a scheme to change the past. The entire planet is at risk simply because Slade is incapable of hugging his children. In the past variant of Wally West is lying unconscious on the ground. The three groups of Titans are running around, bickering. Wally is literally dying on the ground in front of them, and it's all thanks to Damian. Nightwing tries to grab Robin and forcibly drag him away from Kid Flash before the young boy Wonder can do any more damage. Meanwhile, Nightwing's past variant is performing CPR in a desperate attempt to jumpstart Kid Flash's heart. Just when all hope is lost, Kid Flash wakes up. Back in the car, the present Kid Flash is starting to connect the dots. All of Deathstroke's doing can be simplified as a man looking for a son, taking advantage of a boy looking for a father. Things are never simple. Good, evil, right, wrong, them versus us. All Wally wants to be is a good man, to be his own man. Kid Flash opens the car door and steps outside. But once he does, Wally feels a familiar, powerful energy coursing through him. His speed has returned, and he's off to meet with his friends at Hatton Corners. In the past, all of the time-displaced Titans begin glowing blue, with the older Wally West still erased from time. Jericho does not have the speed to keep up with the temporal field. It's collapsing around them. One by one, they each touch down in the present day. Not long after, Deathstroke arrives. Speed Force energy cracks around his suit like tangible rage. Beast Boy was under the impression that Robin cut the cord connecting Deathstroke to the Flash's Speed Force. He did, but apparently Deathstroke has somehow tapped into the Speed Force directly. Yes, Deathstroke confirms. I now have the power to wipe you all out of existence. But first, I'm going to save my son. Deathstroke races off at speeds high enough to circle the globe in seconds. I need to go back even farther,
prevent Grant from running away in the first place. And after that, I'll deal with the lot of you. Jericho flies in his father's wake and attempts to stop him before he does something he can't fix. Deathstroke ignores his son's concern. I can feel it now. The energy source the speedsters draw from. I need more power than I can siphon from the boy. Tapping into it directly. Exhilarating. Like nothing I've ever felt before. More power. More speed. Grant. I will save Grant. There are 2 thunderclaps across the globe. One from Deathstroke breaking the Speed Force barrier, and another of the Flash striking down within a bolt of lightning at Hatton Corners. Arsenal, with a smirk on his face, asks what took the hero so long. The Flash looks up. His face is distraught. Sweat pours down from his forehead uncontrollably. He explains, I went after Jericho, followed his gravitational signature. Deathstroke has entered the Speed Force. Once you've gone in, there's no way out. He's gone. Forever. A number of the Titans let out a small cheer. It looks like they can chalk this one up to the good guys. Kid Flash arrives and Arsenal cheers once again. You're kidding me, right? Kid Flash asks the other Titans as he slides to a halt. A man is dead and we're celebrating? How can we call ourselves heroes? Donna Troy reasons that no one is happy about this. Speak for yourself, Robin interjects. Beast Boy adds that Slade was a killer with super speed. He was a threat to the entire world. And he's not dead. He's just trapped forever. Honestly, it's better than he deserves. And what do we deserve? Wally snaps. When we behave just like him. We can't just leave him in there. Kid Flash sprints off in an attempt to access the Speed Force. The Flash hobbles to his feet. He tells Nightwing that they need to stop Kid Flash. He doesn't understand. Running faster than the speed of light gets you in the Speed Force. But Kid Flash doesn't know how to get out. Before the Flash can run off, Nightwing stops him, explaining they've lost the Flash once before. If he's going in, the Titans are going to make sure the Flash can make it out. Nightwing's solution: they build a rope. Lilith, Nightwing says, turning to Omen, link us all up telepathically. Not all, Robin huffs. A murderer hung himself. We shouldn't be arguing with fate. Nightwing corrects his younger brother. What we should be doing is sticking together. Go ahead, Lilith. Raven will harden our telepathic link with a psychic bond and astrally project into Jericho. Instantly, Jericho knows where Nightwing is going. If the Flash is willing to risk everything, then they are all going with him. Jericho transfers his consciousness and, by extension,
the rest of the Titans' shared consciousness into the Flash, before they, as a group, race into the Speed Force. At super speed, Deathstroke's gravity sheath leaves a distinct signature. The Flash can only assume that Kid Flash is homing in on it, allowing him to accelerate faster than he's ever tried before. The Flash can remember what it felt like the first time he tried it. It was terrifying. He's betting Kid Flash barely knows what the Speed Force is. He only knows how to get into it from overhearing the Flash's interrogation with Deathstroke. The Flash is almost positive Kid Flash has even less of an idea of how to get out of it, because honestly, neither does he. The only reason the Flash got out was because he got lucky. Back at Hatton Corners, Damian stands around and oversees the heroes, who are now each petrified like statues standing in place. 11 lives risked to save a killer. What a waste, he muses to himself. At that moment, Jackson Hyde washes onto the dock. Thanks to his hydrokinesis, he was able to catch up with the other heroes. "Jackson!" Robin exclaims, minorly alarmed. "I keep forgetting about you." "So I've noticed," Jackson says back, snarkily. "Still making up my mind about you wanting to join us. You really need to keep up." Suddenly, the petrified Raven screams out in pain. Jackson rushes to her side in an attempt to do what he can to calm her down, but she's unresponsive. "I don't understand. What's happening to her?" he asks. "Raven is an empath, Jackson. Her vast mystical powers are subject to emotional extremes," Robin explains. "If Raven loses control, her soul self could be trapped in the Speed Force. Raven is the rope that holds the heroes to Earth, and she's beginning to fray. If we don't help her, the rope breaks, and we lose everyone. Taking Raven to the Speed Force was a terrible miscalculation." Within the Speed Force, things have gone wrong. Things are becoming unstable within the Flash's mind, and all the Titans are paying the price for it. The Flash explains that this is all his fault. He still feels guilty. "Guys, I didn't tell you the whole truth. I didn't lose to Deathstroke. I ran away from him. I am afraid." Raven senses Wally's fear. His fear is feeding back through their mental link, shattering it. Jericho and the others tell Flash that it's becoming too dangerous. They need to abort the plan. The Flash regrettably tells the others, "It's too late for that. We're moving too fast. We're going in." At Hatton Corners, Jackson continues to try to calm Raven down. Unfortunately, she still isn't listening to him. "Raven doesn't know me," he reasons. "She's not responding to me. It's gotta be you, Robin." "You're doing fine," Damian tells him. "Robin!"
Very well, Damien sighs before stomping forward. There, he tells Raven as he pats her head unempathetically. Seriously, dude? Jackson asks. Damien rolls his eyes and grabs Raven by her shoulders before attempting to aggressively shake some sense into her. Raven! Rachel! It's me, Damien! You're safe. No one will hurt you. Not on my watch. Come home, Raven. Your friends are waiting. At that moment, a tear in the Speed Force rips open and both Wallies, as well as Deathstroke, flies out and falls to the floor. Once the portal closes, others begin waking up from their shared trance. Robin turns to his brother. So, Nightwing, mission accomplished. Which only leaves us back where we started. Deathstroke. Robin now draws his weapons and points them directly at the mercenary. Deathstroke, fuming with rage, draws his own weapon. Everything, he snarls. You damned kids have cost me everything. There, inside the Speed Force, I've seen things no man will ever see. Things no man should ever see. Awareness on multiple planes, all at once. And now, it's gone. My higher consciousness, making it difficult to be in tune with the Speed Force. Every last one of you should die here today. And so should I. So, let's just end it, shall we? Each of the Titans prepare for their final fight. But, instead of fighting, Deathstroke removes his mask and throws it to the ground. I quit, says the mercenary. He turns on his heels and walks in the opposite direction, telling the heroes, Deathstroke is finished.